Greetings, sending some warm, positive vibrations. This is Body-Culinary, and shout out to all of my early risers. So, this early day, I am having a nice cup of warm tea, and the early hours are such a great time for reflection. I also have come to observe that during these hours, you have different entities that troll the internet, usually looking for some stuff to get into. However, we won't play that any, never mind. So I was just thinking as I was taking a water meditation, aka a shower, some time to relax, and I was just reflecting on things that I wish that folks knew. And as I was letting the water run through my scalp, which I do from time to time because I find it very relaxing, and it's one of the benefits of freedom hair, Afro locks, hair that is doesn't require a lot of muss and fuss. Taking a lot of things like hair and food off of the table really allows for more access, I find, to peace, health, and contentment. So I've just reflected on several things, and I'm going to share the reflection just in a moment. It's connected to hair and the things that bring peace and contentment, and some of the things that folks that peruse this channel, male or female, that I wish that folks knew. If you're new to this channel, welcome. I'm Body-Culinary, a professional chef, a personal trainer, a natural born woman. That's important to me. Shout out to you, whatever your expression is on this earth plane. I love a natural lifestyle, as close as I can get to it in these times that we are living in. On this channel, I love to share inspiration and motivation for several lifestyle practices that I think have tremendous leverage and are really a significant deposit into your 401k. Those three lifestyle practices are peaceful consumption, garden therapy, and a personal movement practice. All of them have tremendous benefits physiologically, mentally, emotional, and they are practices that once you invest in them, they will serve you even into your golden and your senior years. So that's the kind of content I love to share. I also share some of my journey of radical self acceptance, of really embracing and celebrating the unique features that I popped out onto this earth plane with, right? Representation does matter because we want to see ourselves represented out here. So if you're interested in that kind of content, feel free, if you like, to subscribe to the channel, peruse the channel, take advantage of the gardening videos, the fitness videos. There's a puppet series, Sister Butterfly and Sister Monkey Learn to Eat Better, on this channel as well. So I hope you'll avail yourself of those resources as well. A few offerings that I have are natural beauty, no products. Perhaps there's someone out there, as I have, that has experienced a lot of acne and hyperpigmentation, which I found very uncomfortable, at times even embarrassing. That's how my ego was feeling. And I cleared that up with food and my movement practice. So that is, yeah, pretty much food from the inside and outside, all fresh, unprocessed foods as a lifestyle, as well as there's a guide, Whole Living Foods in the Hood, with menus to fit your budget, what I call peaceful consumption, and you will have to find your own sweet spot. This consists of a pattern of eating focused on whole, fresh, living foods, fresh, whole foods with their living water still intact, with their nutrition still intact. Fruits, vegetables, the whole fruit ideally, vegetables, all different types of leafy greens, sprouts, sprouted legumes, untoasted nuts, and seeds and fresh ground spices. So I put together a guide of all the questions that I thought people would ask me over the years that could perhaps shorten your learning curve, because it doesn't need to necessarily take us years to figure out how to eat healthy. We may want to invest in some education to learn proper food combining. What is the nutrient profile of what we're eating? Because a bit of education I have found has gone a long way in keeping me clear and grounded as to why I've made and I'm making changes. Education actually helps keep me on the straight and narrow. So I'm not looking at potato chips or potato or greens. I'm looking at them all as the same thing. So a chip is not the same thing as a food holding its living water. And I'm also thinking of nourishing my body at a cellular level, which is directly connected to our immune system. So that, as well as a webinar, Healthy Eating for Men, Food Preservation and Preparedness. That is a workshop if you're living this lifestyle. That is available, as well as goddess cakes, raw vegan goddess cakes and passion cakes that don't require a dehydrator or any artificial sweeteners. There are quite a few resources that are available on body-culinary.com. Okay, so that being said, natural bodies matter. They matter to me. I wish, I'm going to just share a few things that I wish that folks knew. Some of them, young people who, I really feel away for. I feel away for myself. And definitely also for some of the men that peruse this channel. One of the things, and I don't know that the person outwardly meant anything intentionally. Sometimes I just marvel at the state of awareness or lack thereof today in protocol. And the internet, social media has removed a lot of boundaries and protocol. And with the removal of boundaries and protocol, that has created more of an environment of the absence of safety for women and girls. It's actually exacerbated in us seeing quite often that there aren't consequences by natural consequences for violation of women and children. And it doesn't leave me feeling very comfortable or confident with being approached by strangers on the internet or people where I can't see their face or I can't apply uh, a natural, thorough vetting process. So this is no diss to the men folks out here, but I just sometimes marvel at the the taking of liberties. Like I wish that, or I desire, not I wish, I desire for men folks to know that, and I can't speak for all women, I really, really dislike am turned off by a lack of protocol when being approached. I do get that the climate of the internet. So we make assumptions. We can project what we would like, or we make assumptions about folks. I really dislike a lack of protocol. So someone made a comment on this channel. Many of the comments I have blocked for review. I have profanity filters. I'm not going to say I'm a person that never curses. That's not my ideal. That's saved for people who really warrant that energy. It's not mostly my energy. So, but in any event, someone made a comment. I want to send you my picture so you can review my hair, and so that you can talk about my hair. And I was just thinking, like, what would make this person, it appears a man, think that I want to talk about his hair, talk about his hair really for free? It's like, I have to sit and I have to think about what is it that it's certain things that turn me off, and I make an effort in quiet times to observe if something is not rubbing me the right way. Just I'm thinking like, first of all, people may be making an assumption because I have locks that I'm Rasta. Uh, I really like several numerous things about the culture, but I'm not a Rasta. I am not. I don't ascribe to any religion or follow people or men, and that's due to some hard-earned life wisdom. So shout out to you, whatever your chosen faith or religion. To me, religion is really what you do more than what you say. However, folks look at your outer appearance, and we make, all of us do as humans, right? We make lots of assumptions, but the familiarity, I'm thinking like that's something for your wife or your partner or woman that you've invested in, or a friend or a family member who you have that relationship with. I would get nothing out of that, and it's like, I don't, sometimes it just makes me wonder at the development or the lack thereof, or the lack of awareness and sensitivity, right? There's no protocol, and I find it a turnoff. I wish that men folks could know that it makes the climate, and women, because we don't have the time to, to explain everything, because our safety is number one. But that it makes the climate of men in general feel that it appears that there's not a deep thought process. And there's one right now. There's a troll right now, and so this is what this is. This is a great example. This is what the internet is right now. It's a lot of people, many men. I don't think it's limited to men. Internationally, that are looking for energy or to get off or something, and it's distasteful. It's not a healthy environment mentally, emotionally for young people, men or women, but definitely for women because it's like you have access to what you haven't earned access to just because you can pay for an internet bill. There's an assumption that you deserve or you have paid for access because it is a neutral forum where people can put up pictures that are not the actual representation and you can't see who these folks are. So this is how many people are getting off. The internet is monetized, but it's such a turn off. And it just makes me want not even wonder. It just is what it is that some folks have devolved to such a point that maybe just such an emptiness or lack of connection that they'll pay just a couple of dollars or for free, even though the internet is not for free, it's free for some and not for others, that will just pay to look into a face or to do whatever. And it's just such a turn off. I don't want to look at random pictures of people, and I'm not obligated to because I'm on the internet. But just the trolls with the different, and some of them are bots, and some of them are people. Or somebody sets up the bots. It is a climate, and I'm aware that the climate it affects women and men. It is affecting whether we think of it or not. I think that it weakens us. I think that it is making us become something else as a species because there's a whole mental processing that has to take place in order to engage in a certain kind of way. Um, and sometimes I'm really just concerned at just the pandering, right? The programs of reality TV, and I'm not a prude in it by any means, but the programs that are pandering to certain appetites, it appears that we don't even consider that the pandering of vices weakens us. A good example, I think, would be if we look at the indigenous people of the Americas, you know, swindled out of their land and the stewardship of their land. They were offered alcohol. So when folks, and this is just one woman's perspective, not necessarily other folks' truth. If somebody is coming to offer me a substance that would have me compromise my critical thinking, my motor skills with no vetting process, I'm looking at them sideways. Actually, I don't trust people that want to play to vices or that want to play to distractions that compromise my physical health, that deplete my vitality. I find it a turn off, an extreme turn off. So the lack of a vetting process, it shows also that folks or the species or many of us have become very complacent with no vetting, and then yet we complain and in these warring camps. And so I saw or I heard the other day the talk of people purchasing access to artificial intelligence or dolls first and then artificial intelligence that they could be abusive to. The comfortability with mental dysfunction and mental illness is really so interesting that folks will fight to defend. This is why, and I'm not making it bad or wrong, but just as an example, this is why I have to take medication, this is why I have to take medication. And so it's become normalized that a lot of the population is on medication. So I question, I'm just wary of the conflict of interest for profit. I've observed that there are plenty of things today that we're medicating that in a balanced environment with intact parents, at least ideally, there are things that we're medicating to take the place of sleep, to take the place of human interaction, to take the place of responsible parenting, especially during our formative years. There's only but so much medication, and so it's not coming up on our radar that these things is it's personal development. Just like coffee cannot take the place of sleep, medication cannot take the place of personal development and personal responsibility. So it's unfortunate, or it is what it is. There are many, there's a lot that I'm just so not attracted to. And it's also interesting that it seems that we are turned off by people's actual presentation. We find it distasteful to see what people really look like. I wonder if it's becoming distasteful when we pass the mirror for us to see what we really look like. And it's one of the things that I really enjoy about what I'll call freedom hair and freedom skin, right? We have the option to play and to be expressive. There's nothing wrong with that. However, to jump out of the water, whether that's a warm shower or a waterfall or a pool or walking in the rain, and just to feel and to enjoy my human suit while I have it, right? That it's healthy to feel my skin breathe, to be able to feel my scalp breathe unencumbered, right? To be able to look in the mirror and pass and sometimes just notice a natural, um, spontaneous smile that comes up when I look at myself and appreciating myself. I can also notice when with social media, looking at social media, you look at it long enough and compare yourself long enough, subconsciously, you start wanting to alter yourself, to put this on to look like this person, or put this on to look like that person. And so, similar to if any of you have ever taken a yoga class in a studio without mirrors, after a while of not having the mirror, you start to, your internal focus turns more inside into being present in your body, not needing to see your reflection, just being present. And so I quite often, I think in the early morning, sometimes I can hear myself thinking like, wow, I miss this particular aspect of my movement practice. I can't wait to get to my movement practice. That's a thought that comes up. I realize that thought comes up because, and in different ways, different types of movement practices that I have, some more vigorous, or in some more flexibility focused, some more strength focused, some more cardiovascularly focused. I notice, for example, in my flexibility, that yoga, flexibility, I notice the actual practice over time of the breath gives me a healthy curiosity about being present and noticing where my mind is going, noticing if my breath is very fast or heightened, noticing when I'm very calm, noticing the peace that comes, even though it's a vigorous and challenging session. Sometimes I'm sore from the stretching, but I'm noticing that I don't feel that kind of contentment or peace, literally, that a presence. I hear it talked about in religion, I hear it talked about in prayer and meditation, but the only space where I've really experienced that is in my quote unquote yoga flexibility practice, where there's a very intentional breathing. It's very intentional. The way that I feel when I'm playing capoeira or African dance, there's such an indescribable feeling of joy, electricity, vibrancy in my body. The communal aspect of it, of playing with other people, is very playful and joyful, and I feel safe and challenging myself is totally indescribable. How I felt over the years with strength training, the sense of accomplishment that comes from not being able to do one push up and then being able to do 20, 30, 40, to watch that number fluctuate back and forth, to know the consistency, the soreness that it brings, being in that present to that process, to know I can create and develop strength, to know that those deposits are carrying me to this day. It's indescribable. So that is something that we can intellectualize about, and we can be voyeurs, just staring off and looking at people online. But it appears we're becoming very complacent and not moving with a sense of urgency to get into action to have our own personal experience. So, those are the types of things that inspire me. If I'm going to look at someone, it would be for inspiration to see what I can apply. So, as I've said for years, even before this. The internet, I found people that I can garden with, I can have a movement practice with, whether that was going to classes or researching or buying videotapes. That's something I like to connect with. I like to be inspired to get into action around what I say I value. So back to what I wish folks knew. Again, I really wish men knew that there are some women that consider the lack of respect protocol and lack of investment for what is asked of time of attention, that it is a turnoff and that it feels very unsafe. And I don't look at anyone that approaches me on the internet. I could not take them seriously because I'm looking at their decision making skills. I wish that young women and men, but definitely young women, were aware of and not with any kind of condemnation judgment the as we mimic and we experiment with putting ourselves out there. I wish we could understand as women that there is potential psychological and emotional effects that comes with putting ourselves out online to random strangers with a lack of a vetting process, right? It's looking for validation, and it's a spectrum of validation of wanting to share what our offerings are, if they're talents or skills. I think at the same time, is showing, and not without making bad or wrong, that we haven't been validated from the parents that have brought us here. So a lot of this stuff is subconscious and we're putting it out online. And I think we're not really comprehending all that we're bargaining for. The attention and validation that you want, the like from strangers, the numbers go up from the like, but it's not a substantial like, and to continually seek that validation and that stamp of approval from strangers with no real demonstration of care or protection or safety, I think it really affects us as a species. So I wish that we could know more. I don't know if it's a fast forward of where we lose, that there's an extraction, there's an exchange happening for the validation and the type of validation that we're seeking. And I think it can lead us as young women to put ourselves in harm's way, not just physically, but yet emotionally and mentally, because we're not factoring, there's so much stuff that we're not factoring on the attention that we're getting. And I think we're encouraged to think that it's not important, it's insignificant. Yet a lot of us don't have a mastery or a maturity that comes with understanding our psychological makeup and how we're putting ourselves out there. So that's something I wish that folks knew. I wish that also that young men could know the pandering that's happening with young men, that it is constantly going after men with their vices of sex, sex, sex. And it's not a full development. There's not a focus on personal accountability and responsibility. This goes for women too, of your choices of who you interact with intimately, because it's more physical interaction and intimacy, which has respect and accountability with it, is at an all-time low. So at an all-time low. So with some hard-earned wisdom and with some more developed eyes and life experience, you can see what's coming down the line. And just the other day, I moved forward with this. There's a rap artist who I really, really enjoyed coming up, and he just came out with another album. And while we could say he had skills, just at his age, he's got to be, I would think, in his 50s now, a parent. The way I heard him speaking about picking up a gun, and it just sounded so immature and underdeveloped. And I think we have a false sense of loyalty to folks that are out to get a quick bag, and we're not realizing how we're being affected. We're not taking it seriously. And to get to a point, it's like, I don't know if we really care. So we're being desensitized to our own disadvantage. So these are some things that I wish folks knew. On a lighter note, I wish that we also knew the leverage that simple lifestyle practices of peaceful consumption, food that loves you back and doesn't leave waste in your waistline, that it could have, garden therapy, the benefits that it could have, and your personal movement practice. I wish that we could know the leverage that just personal accountability and responsibility, so that whatever could have happened to us, whatever trauma we exposed to, may not be our fault. However, our life is our responsibility, and the ability to focus, we're losing the ability to focus. We are so distracted. So where there could be opportunities to pick up skills and to leverage personal development and to learn how to communicate better for relationships and, for legacy, not really taking advantage of it. And that opportunity is there, however it is on us. So those are just some things that I wish folks knew. I really find attractive and appealing respect and protocol, where we just don't take so much liberties with each other like we know folks on the internet. I know folks, we say internet family, yet we don't know each other. And so respect is the minimum and the maximum, definitely with men folks. And I would say even with women, it's respect, right? And that comes down to, we see like a lot of times respect, you don't see respect unless there are consequences that are financial, legal, and physical. So I really appreciate when I see folks are reciprocal and not just looking to take. We make the assumption that everything is free, and we don't even consider how the internet and social media is monetized, right? How there's constantly an energy exchange. So I would love to hear, from you. Have you noticed, or have you ever considered the energy exchange, right? Whether that's information, whether that's you're motivated, whether you're depressed, whether it's distraction. What do you notice the energy exchange is as you interact with these screens, as you interact with the internet and social media? So I'm inviting you all to create a great day on purpose. Just because you said so, feel free to like, comment, and subscribe. You can always comment respectfully in the comment section and make use of the different resources on this channel as well as on body-culinary.com. Shout out to any of you that are joining me for the 3 and 7 day nutrition reset and ongoing coaching. All right, see you soon.